we talked about so much shit at the gym. I don't even know where to. We see a lot eye to eye in terms of like fitness, in terms of just life, discipline, this, that. Do you want to walk me through kind of where you came from, your background a little bit? Your I know you want to talk about your dad if you want, whatever you're comfortable with, but kind of what that background looks like, and then the initial stages of what made you start turning things around.
Yeah, for sure. So my name is Joe Minot. I'm a firefighter here in the Bay Area. I grew up in Hayward, Alameda County, unincorporated, and I was raised by a single mom. My dad was in prison when I was a kid, and I think that's like where a lot of my struggles started. Typical kind of like immigrant Filipino household. I'd have 10 plus people living in my house at the same time. I wouldn't say I was poor, but
You had 10 people living in that house.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Yeah,
Okay.
like a little 3-bedroom house, 10 people sharing rooms and things like that.
Okay.
Multi-families,
Right.
And but I was raised by my mom and my sister. My dad was in prison. And my dad, when he was in prison, he fought fires. He fought fire with the con crews while he was in prison, and I think that's where
he was a firefighter.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, he was a firefighter while he was in prison. It's like a special program here in California that they have.
Okay.
Like prisoners with like good behavior and things like that. Like they could sign up for that, and they get time off their sentence. They get paid a little bit, like pennies on the dollar, but they make money. And I think that's where my whole inspiration to want to become a firefighter came from. Like I kind of lost track throughout my life, but then that's like where the whole inspiration to want to become a firefighter.
Growing up watching your dad for doing that.
Yeah, hearing stories about him and stuff. And then the department I work for actually now, I didn't know the difference between like wildland and structure firefighting, but they would come to my school and they would do like assemblies and stuff at my school, and I would see them in their gear, on their engines and things like that. And I was like, I pictured my dad doing that. And so it's like a dream come true to be able to work for the department that I like always wanted to work for. So, but yeah, so that's when I was like a real small kid. I had a stepdad, that was abusive stepdad, really abusive stuff.
Verbal or physical or both?
Physical, both.
Okay.
Yeah. I would like go to school with busted lips, black eyes, things like that.
Okay. What age?
I was probably like 7 or 8.
Okay.
And I think that's where a lot of my troubled youth stemmed from. Like once I got into like my adolescence and things like that in high school and stuff, which I'll get into, I think it stemmed from the abuse and just kind of my self-worth and things like that was broken at a young age. But then, like, growing up, like, I had a lot of... my dad got out of prison when I was, like, 10 or 11 years old. And when he first got out of prison, like, we had less of, like, a father-son relationship, more of, like, a homie relationship.
Oh, okay. So, like, friendship.
Yeah. And
how long was he in jail for? Sorry.
7 years.
7 years, okay.
And so I saw a lot of stuff. Like, he never hid anything from me. Like, the lifestyle, the things that he was doing, like, he never really hid anything from me, which I, like... It's a kind of like a good and a bad side to it, It made me a lot more street smart, made me a lot more aware of things that are happening, but then also it kind of like glamorized that lifestyle and made me kind of like want to be a part of it, made me more like interested in it. And then growing up, just like I was surrounded by like, alcohol abuse, drug abuse, prostitution, things like that. Like, to me, it was my life, like my regular life, and I look back on it.
It was normal for you. You adapted to it.
But now, as I'm older, I'm like, that wasn't normal. Like, you know what I mean? Like, people...
Did you start understanding that, like, in the last few years? Or what age did you start looking back, like, this isn't what it's supposed to be?
I'd say, like, in my mid to late 20s, I started to realize, like, yeah, this...
Talking to friends and seeing how their life was, comparing it? Is that what it was?
Yeah,
okay,
for sure. And it started to make me feel like, I started to, like, do more introspective thinking and just realizing that, like, okay, a lot of my problems and my issues stem from this stuff, like this unhealed trauma, these unhealed
Sure.
things that I haven't like addressed. And so I'd say like in my late 20s, and as recent as like the last few years, I've been like doing therapy, going to therapy and things like that that have helped me work through that stuff. Yeah.
So at what point did you decide that the life that well, you can't change the past, right? So you embrace the past and just jump in. If tell me if I'm talking out loud or it was something different. You embrace the past of how you grew up, and that adaptation, taking that, how did you use that as fuel or energy to turn? When was the turning point for you? So what did that look like? I don't know, if you want to get into it, what did that look like for you? And did you, at that point when you started to turn around, did you use the past as fuel to propel you, or were you just thinking I need to do something else?
Absolutely, absolutely. So in high school, I was in and out of juvenile hall. I also caught a case as an adult as well, like when I was like 19, 20 years old. But during that time, like I had like mentors. I was kind of like in and out of like, stuff like deep down, like my character and my morals and things like that were good, but it was more of like the lifestyle I was living, the environment I was in and stuff like that was kind of like pulling me into that.
Do you feel like your ego made you really, so that inside of you, inside deep in your mind, your heart, were you vulnerable? Were you empathetic? Or was the ego so large, and I guess you were rough edged, where you weren't able to make that change? And so it was just a lot of flexing, if you will. Is that what it was?
I think what it was that it was like this, like I said, my dad like didn't hide anything from me, and I saw him with like, with the flashy cars, money, and things like that. And I was surrounded by these people that made easy money, did things like sold drugs and pimped and robbed and things like that. And I saw how easy it was, how quick it was to, make money and have all these nice things. And it kind of like distorted my view of like how deep down I was a good person. Like I didn't want to lie. I didn't want to steal. I didn't feel good about stealing from people. I didn't feel good about people selling drugs to people and things like that, manipulating people. But it was like that's how I saw other people get the nice things and glamorous lifestyle and things like that. And so it's almost like if since they're doing it, maybe I'll try to do it. I'll do it too, and I'll get those things too. And but then, like I said, I was in and out of it. So I had a lot of mentors in my life, like at a young age, that was like helping me steer me in the right direction whenever I would kind of like take a step back from that. And I like had a job when I was like 15, 16 years old with this program called Society in Hayward. They were a nonprofit organization. They helped me get like an internship with the city hall in Hayward, and I was working and staying
How
on
old
the
were
right
you?
track. I was like 16 years old.
Okay.
I was on independent studies and in high school and stuff, and I was just trying to graduate and make a little bit of money on the side too.
Okay.
And I like went through some stuff, like some like girlfriend like breakup type stuff, and it kind of I lost track of like the good I was doing, and then I kind of went back to
you reverted back to how you were.
to my old ways, to my old behaviors and things like that.
You haven't graduated high school yet?
Not yet.
Okay.
And I lost contact with some of I stopped contact with those mentors, and then I caught that case as an adult. And when I caught that case as an adult and I saw I was like, oh, I'm an adult now. Like, that's when it really hit me. And I was like, this isn't like, this is the rest of my life. Like, I don't want to be in and out of jail, like going down the same road that my dad went down. And that's when things started to flip for me. And I started to see myself as like, okay, like, I'm not my dad. I don't need to try to be like my dad or the people the environment that I was in. I could do it differently.
So no one told you this. No one was like, "Hey, look at your past. Don't be your past." You self-reflection. You realized, and I don't know if it scared you or not. Maybe you could tell me if there was fear that made you change, or was it fear or anger that you were like, "I need to change"?
I think it was fear.
Okay.
And to your question, people did tell me my entire life, but you're young and you think you know better.
Always.
And my mom used to always tell me, like, you have a track record, it's like breadcrumbs, it follows you where you go.
Yep.
And things like that. And I would hear her, but it would kind of go through one ear and out the other.
Yeah.
And it didn't really start to resonate with me until I got older, and I was like, this is serious, this is my future, and I don't want to end up like my dad. I don't want to go to prison for 7 years and see the struggles that he's going through. And so when and just like a brief like snippet of what I did, like, I robbed somebody, but I instantly regretted it. I instantly felt like, why did I do that? And so I'm like running away, like I'm dashing down the street with this person's belongings, and I'm just thinking to myself, like, why did I do that? I'm not this type of person. Why did you do that? And the police, they ended up catching me down the street. I went into the store. They walked into the store after me. And when they walked into the store, I turned around and I told them, like, hey, like, would it make your job any easier if I told you that I robbed that guy? And I gave all their stuff back.
Oh, they didn't even, so you just told them.
Yeah,
okay.
I told them, but then I still got arrested.
Of course.
I still went to jail, SF County Jail. And then I got like this program. I forget what it was. It was like Prop 48 or something like that.
Okay.
They had like some special program back then. Like they turned felonies into misdemeanors and things like that. So I got released. I went through my first EMT school because I was like, I reached back out to my mentors and I was like, hey, like, I'm in a tough spot right now. Like, I really need like something
Support,
to keep me busy.
Right. Yeah.
Something to keep me busy, something to keep me out of the streets and things like that. And so they started this program, or they were already like working on this program called Bay EMT, or well, Bay EMT was a thing, and then Society partnered with Bay EMT to make an EMT program at the Ashland Youth Center. And I went through that program when I was like 19, 20 years old, back in 2014.
Okay.
And that's when it gave me a purpose. It gave me like, I felt good at it. It gave me a purpose. I was helping my classmates like study and things like that. And I think that was like a big part of my transition and my journey, was that I felt like I had a purpose. I had like my worth, like I had more worth than just what I was doing.
How long was that entire EMT? So real quick, because we'll talk about you now. You're a firefighter, but was there a plan to be a firefighter, or you were just like, just get me off the streets, whatever the fuck I gotta do to just not live that past any longer? Did you know that this leads to being a firefighter, or you knew this?
Yeah.
Okay.
So to be a firefighter, you have to get your EMT certification first.
Okay.
Yeah. So you have that's the minimum requirement. And so I knew that was what I needed to go through to become a firefighter. And so that's why I started that.
Okay.
And then immediately after that, I was still fighting my case and everything. And I ended up having to serve time after I finished my EMT course. And it was a long journey even after that.
You need to serve time. Oh, wait. So you went to jail, came out of jail, did EMT, but you still had time to serve?
Yeah. So I was going to, I was on trial.
Oh, okay.
So I got out of jail, and then I was on trial while I was going to school.
Okay.
And then towards it, like, it just worked out where at the end of my trial, I graduated, and then my end of my trial, they gave me my sentence, and I had to serve like 6 months or something like that in county jail. I ended up getting doing like half time, so like 3 months in San Bruno and SF County Jail.
So when you got out of jail, you were back into EMT, or was there now the...
Yeah, so it's a little complicated because I couldn't take my national registry when I was on probation, but I still was able to do, like, knock little things off, still keep putting one foot in front of the other.
Sure.
I was like, I got enrolled in college. I started taking fire science classes. I started setting myself up for success for when the time would come that I'd be ready. And so I got my fire science degree. I ended up having to retake my EMT class because they give you a time window to be able to take the national registry. And then through every like step, I had like so many hurdles and hoops I had to jump through. Like I had to like send in like character witness letters. I had to, you know, they would deny my first application, so then I'd have to send in like, you know, appeal and things like that.
Okay.
And then once I was able to take my national registry, then it was another thing and another thing. And it ended up all in all, for me to even start working as an EMT, it took me 7 years.
Damn.
Yeah. But I was still like grinding, dude. Like I got a job with an EMT company, an ambulance company, not as an EMT, but as like a vehicle service technician.
Were you living not to cut you off? Were you living at home this whole time? What's the living situation like?
Yeah.
Where's your dad? What's going on with
So
that?
I was living with my mom. Well, I was like back and forth. I was living with my mom, but then like spending some time with my dad here and there.
Okay.
Funny enough, once I started changing my life around, my dad started changing his life around.
Wow. Well. So you started inspiring him.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. You could say that, but then like I think just like the circumstances and things that were going on in his life as well, like we kind of both started changing our lives around at the same time and kind of like, you know, so it was kind of a little bit of accountability for each other. I could say.
And your relationship with him today, is it cool?
Yeah, it's cool.
Okay,
yeah, we talk. I have a very blended family. So like my mom and my dad, they're all close. My brother, I have half siblings and stuff that. They're all close.
That's great.
And we talk.
Yeah.
And like big family parties, everybody gets together. But
so 7 years EMT, you're hustling. EMT pays you, or you're working on the side?
Yeah, so I was working for an ambulance company.
Okay.
But I was a vehicle service technician. So it was kind of like I was stalking rigs, doing things like that.
Yep.
And then just to get my foot in the door. And I was even hustling with that, you know, like, and that was the thing, like in my head, I knew like I wanted to make an impact no matter what I do. You know what I mean? Something that was instilled in me is that it's like, take pride in what you do. Like, it doesn't matter if you're mopping floors, cleaning bathrooms, or you're a CEO of a company, like take pride in what you do, and you'll get more out of it. And so I wanted to make an impact wherever I went, because I know that like that when my mom told me, like, you know, having a track record and breadcrumbs where you go, like it stays with you.
Yes.
And so those things all started to kind of like come together in my head. And I really just started hustling in towards my ultimate goal of becoming a firefighter. And I was living at home still. I ended up moving out when I was like 23, and with my girlfriend at the time, who became my wife. I also got
your
divorced.
dad. Yep.
Yeah, I became a dad, but then I've also recently gone through a divorce and things like that. And then it was just a grind the whole time, and I just, you know, in my head, like they say this in the fire service, like when you get in it, when you start talking to people that are trying to become firefighters and that are firefighters, a lot of them say that it's a marathon, not a race. And everybody's journey is different. Some people, they become a firefighter right like 1 year out of the academy, and other people's it takes 10 plus years to become a
Dude, I feel like
firefighter.
it's a marathon, not a race. I'm starting to learn everything in life is a marathon. Everything. It doesn't matter what you're building, whether it's your body, your business, your health, relationships. Everything in life is a marathon, because if you come from the aspect of just the race, without transitioning this to me, but again, just my perspective, maybe you could relate to this, is it's all about perspective. And if your perspective is always aligned to being selfish, because if you want to race, right, if it's you versus you, that's one thing. But if it requires institutions, other people, and different things like that, well, even if it's you versus you can't build your body fast or your health fast, right? It takes time. But everything else, if it requires other people, you can't push other people to like, hey, I want to do this. Let's go. What do I need to do? Right? There's still time for it too.
There's a call and response.
That's
like,
right.
You gotta do this, and then you gotta wait for a response, and then
yeah. So what age did you become?
Delayed gratification type of way.
Delayed gratification.
Yeah.
And that's we could talk about society today and that, because I feel like that's a problem too. But you became firefighter at 23? Is that what you said?
No, I moved out at 23.
Moved out at 23.
Yeah,
When did
I
you
became a firefighter when I was 30.
30? So moved out, and then you were in the academy for how long?
I did my college firefighter 1 academy in 2016, and then I got hired in 2024.
Okay.
So almost 10 years, 8 years.
So in between 23, moving out EMT, and becoming firefighter at 30, the destination never changed. With all the ups, downs, the wife, divorce, it was still, that was your goal. Nothing, your past was behind you now. You started to look at this is where I'm going. I don't give a shit what's in front of me. I'm going to get there. Is that what it is?
Yep. And I knew that, like, you know, and another thing that people will always say is that, like, the people that don't become firefighters are only the ones that quit.
Yes, I agree with that.
You know what I mean? Like, so as long as you keep chipping away at it and you keep your eyes on the prize, like, the only way that you won't make it is if you stop. And just like that, like, picture, I'm sure you've seen, like, images where it's like 2 miners and they're like underground digging through the mines.
With the
and
diamond
one guy
end.
stops right at the end, right before he hits the diamonds.
Yep.
And turns around. He's like, "This is too hard. I'm done."
Yep.
And the other guy kept going. He kept pushing, just like a few inches further, and he hit the diamonds.
So okay. So let's get into that, because there's a lot of stuff I want to talk about this. We always talk at the gym, obviously. I know because you told me, and then I've even seen on your social media, I believe, that I don't know if you were a firefighter at this point. I think maybe you were, or you clarify, but I know you were out of shape.
Yeah.
So you want to talk about what were you always out of shape? Did you let go? Okay, go ahead.
No. So, I don't want to. So this is something that I'm like, I really don't want to, like, bash on my past relationships or anything like that. Like, there was I had love for the person I was with, and they honestly helped me through a lot of hurdles and a lot of things like that. And, you know, and not to take away any credit from my own, you know, the work that I put in, but they helped me out a lot. But to say I got comfortable, you know, being in a relationship, settling, getting married.
Okay.
Yeah, getting married, getting kind of lazy, getting kind of comfortable in myself. Like, you know, like, you know, I have it. Like, I don't need to do anything anymore. And
you're a firefighter at this point?
No, I wasn't.
No,
yet.
not okay.
No, I wasn't yet. I was just an EMT trying to work towards becoming a firefighter. Still.
Got it.
And that's another thing too, is the lifestyle on the EMTs and boxes and things like that. Like, when you talk to paramedics and EMTs and stuff like that, the lifestyle that they live, the hours that they work, the access to, like, food and nutrition and things like that they have. A lot of people, if you look at a lot of, like, people that are in this industry, in the ambulance industry specifically, is they're not in the best shape. They're stressed out.
Yes, you're right. I do see these guys.
They're stressed out, and it's because of the high processed food that they're eating. They're eating out of gas stations. They're eating fast food and things like that on their shifts and stuff like that. And it leads to burnout, which the higher stress and the higher cortisol and things like that. It's like, you know, it's hard to, you know, motivate yourself to get out and go when you already have all this stuff weighing you down. But once I got my EMT, I got my experience and things like that, I would run into my friends who were from my Firefighter 1 Academy in the field. They were working for, like, Richmond Fire, Contra Costa, and they were telling me, they're like, "Hey, what are you up to? What are you doing now? Like, have you been applying?" and things like that. And at first I was kind of like, you know, not really taking it seriously, still kind of content and just comfortable. But then I was like, dude, I have to do this. Like, I've been wanting to do this. I need to, like, take this leap of faith and get myself back into shape and start applying and stuff.
So, okay, so now let's jump forward a little bit. So you're a firefighter at this point. You started working out. When did you start working out?
Oh, no, I wasn't a firefighter yet.
You're not a firefighter. You're a firefighter at 30. You're EMT.
Yeah.
Did you get back in the gym? Did you start working out as an EMT?
Yeah, it was hard because I was working night shifts. I was working 8 p.m. to 8 a.m.
Okay.
And I would go to the gym after a 12-hour shift at, like, 9 in the morning after a 12-hour shift. Barely getting any sleep through the night. and I started off with just like running, weightlifting, and things like that. And this is while I'm applying.
How
getting
old are
ready
you
for my,
at that point?
28, 29.
Got you.
But fitness had like its part in my life before, like throughout my life.
It was just on and off.
On and off. I didn't have a lot of discipline.
Yep.
I did like weightlifting. Like my dad, when he got out of prison and I was like a kid, like he would make me do like 100 burpees before I could go outside and play with my friends and things like that.
Right.
So it was like kind of instilled in me already.
Right.
But then, like I said, I got comfortable in my relationship, and wanting to see this dream through, wanting to see this goal through, I got back into it and I was like, I'm gonna do whatever it takes. Started running. And it was hard at first. I didn't have the discipline. Like, it's not everything that I am now. I started somewhere, you know what I mean?
Right.
I wasn't so consistent as I am now. I was dedicated though. I was like, I'm going to make sure that I get myself ready for, if I do get hired, I'm ready for a fire academy. I took it really seriously.
So I met you around maybe a year ago, maybe a little over a year ago. And I met you when you just became a firefighter, or in that period.
Yep.
And I've seen your progress at the gym. I didn't know, I mean, this is the first time I'm hearing it from you, is you were running. I thought you didn't start running to more recently. I didn't know you were running. Or was that just a requirement to become a firefighter? You need to run?
I wasn't taking it as seriously as I am now.
No, right,
for
right,
sure.
right.
Like back then, I was running like maybe a mile a day as a warm up for the gym, or 3 miles every other day as a warm up for the gym. But now I'm running outside. I'm doing interval running. I'm doing like long runs, like 10, 13, 20 mile runs.
No. You're going beast mode now.
Yeah, but back then running was just more of like I need to lose weight kind of thing.
So, this may be a stupid question, but I don't think there's such a thing as a stupid question, but I'm just going to ask you. You don't need to be doing what you're doing with the running. And to just cover a couple of things. You've ran already now 1 or 2 marathons?
One, and I have another
one marathon. You have a San Francisco marathon coming up. Then right after that, the following month, you got High Rocks. You've already done the High Rocks. High Rocks Challenge, and then you're, I don't know when you may start prepping for it, but I know we talked about you want to do Ironman next year.
Yeah.
You don't need to do any of this. So why are you doing this?
I think for one, I feel like I do need to do it. It's as like a service to my community. Like, I need to be in shape to be a firefighter.
Okay.
I need to have some level of fitness to do my job. If I'm not working out and like letting myself get, carried away, like I feel like I'm not doing a service to the community and living up to the oath that I swore as a firefighter.
Right.
And so, but as far as like taking it to these extremes, I think it's just like,
are you trying to prove something to yourself?
I think it's not so much. Yeah. A little bit. I'm trying to prove something to myself, but then also I feel like it's a little bit therapeutic. I've been going through something.
I agree.
Going through things.
I agree.
And running has really helped me in the discipline aspect of my life. Like now that I've gotten into running, like my discipline, my hustle is automatic.
Yep.
I contribute a lot of that to having my daughter as well, as like being a father. Like there's no I'll do it later, or maybe maybe I could skip this. It's like, no, it's do or die. Like, you know what I mean? I have somebody I have to provide for.
Yes.
And so that has contributed to the discipline that I have now, and how I put that into my running and the training that I do for.
How are you mentally holding? So you're training for marathons, training for High Rocks. You have Ironman looking in the future, at least for that, which is going to require major prep. You already know. I don't got to tell you that.
Oh yeah. That's a commitment for sure.
That's a commitment. Then you're dealing with a firefighter schedule, which isn't like a 9 to 5.
Yeah.
Okay. And then you got your daughter, right? How are you mentally balancing all these things? And what are you doing to not allow yourself to, because a lot of people live a normal 9 to 5 and they don't even have the capacity to go to the gym, let alone run, right? People are like, oh, I hate running. Now you're juggling all these things. How are you managing all these things mentally? And then do you think it's difficult, or do you think it's just your willpower because you want to prove something to yourself, to the community, and just become the best that you can be?
Yeah, for sure. So I kind of, like I said earlier, is I didn't start off with this much discipline. I didn't start off with this much willpower to do the things that I do. I think that over the time, like, and after doing it for so long, it just became automatic. And like, I don't think about, like, the thought doesn't even really cross my mind where I'm like, oh, I'm not going to go to the gym today. If I have something planned, like, I take rest days, don't
Sure.
get me wrong. But like, when I have something scheduled, like a run scheduled or a lift scheduled, it doesn't really cross my mind where I'm like, oh, I'm not going to do it today because I don't feel good. It's like, I'm not feeling good, I'm still going to do it. You know what I mean? I'm still going to do it. Maybe I might not have like that much intensity, but I'm still going to get in there. I'm still going to do it because this is good for me. And sorry, I lost my train of thought.
Yeah, we were talking about how are you mentally juggling all this stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. And I think the way that I mentally juggle it, like I said, it's like, I'm not different from anybody else. You know what I mean? Like I said, I've come a long way. And like, for example, just the other day, I was getting off a shift. I had worked 48. We do work 48s, 96s. So we work 2 days straight, and then we were off 4 days. The night before getting off in the morning, we had a fire, and it was at like midnight, and we were on the fire until like 1, 2 in the morning. Get back to the station, you're hyped up, you have like all these like adrenaline and things like that. It's already hard enough to go to sleep at 2 in the morning. I think I must have dozed off for like 20-30 minutes, and then we got a call, like an EMS call, emergency call at like 3 in the morning. And we get back to the station, it's like 4. And so I'm running off of like 3-4 hours of sleep, but yeah, I still go into the gym coming off of work and run 8 miles, 7 miles on the treadmill. And I think what it is, like, sometimes I don't want to say that I'm built for this, but it's like I built myself.
Of course, you built
this.
Yes.
And so when I was running on the treadmill, I was just thinking to myself, I was like, you know, like how you said, like, you know, a lot of people like probably wouldn't do this, but I have to set myself apart if I'm going to do what I'm doing, if I'm going to try to chase the goals and the dreams that I want. And I think a lot of it is just wanting to see my full potential too.
So like, it's the willpower.
Yeah.
I agree.
Like, I have like this kind of this image of myself that I'm chasing a little bit, and it, you know, a good father, a good firefighter, maybe, you know, some accolades like marathon, Ironman,
For sure.
high rocks,
higher achievements. Yes.
Right. And so, you know, and I think part of it, we talked about this a little bit earlier, how I say, like, you know, a little bit of my like not inferiority. I'm sorry.
No, it's not good.
Identity. I can't think of the name. What was I saying earlier? Like, I feel I want to do the work before, like, I want to do the work before I put myself in the spotlight. You know what I mean? We were talking about earlier, like, I haven't earned
you don't feel getting these achievements. I was talking about the ultra marathon I did, and like, I didn't feel like I completed it, and I know why I did it, but afterwards people are like, damn, that's crazy you did that. In my head, I'm like, I don't think it was anything special. Because I think there is something in a lot of people that are looking for higher achievement and purpose and that fulfillment, and you're constantly driving. I think there's some, and I don't know what it is, but there's some difficulty we have with being, all right, I achieved it, and now I'm done. There's no such thing as done, but even feeling the rewards of achieving something we're so tough on ourselves. You know what I mean? It's I mean, this is just the easiest example I can give, but it's kind of like the Mamba mentality. Kobe Bryant. He is somebody, and many obviously athletes are like this, and not just athletes, all different people and all different, type of placements in life of whatever they're doing. They don't settle. They're constantly trying to improve and become better in whatever it is that they're doing. And I think people that are trying to achieve higher success, they don't allow the rewards to allow them to feel fulfilled. Like the reward, it's temporary. It's just in the immediate, like, okay, cool, that felt good in that moment, and then now it's back to work. I don't know if you can relate to that.
Yeah, I can, and it's like something that a mentor told me before. It's like life is like climbing a mountain, and it's like this never-ending mountain, right? When you're climbing, and you get to like a peak or something like that, and you turn around, you see the view, and it's a beautiful view. You take it in, it's nice, it's beautiful. You work to get up there, but then you look back and you see a higher peak.
Yes,
and you see
another
goal or another place to climb to, and you wonder, I wonder what the view will look like from up there. So then you get back to work and you climb up to the next peak.
Yes. Do you think? I mean, when you're trying to do all these achievements in the firefighter, and then obviously be a dad, become better at that, and whatever else that you want to hit in your life, specifically with the things that you're doing physically to yourself. I'll give myself as an example real quick. One of the struggles that I have is trying to be the strongest I can be and be able to run the furthest I can run. And I find difficulty in that because it is very difficult, as you know, to become a hybrid athlete and have the best of both worlds. Do you find difficulty in that? And then if yes, like, how do you manage that? Because you can't, unless you do some kind of aftermarket, steroid, I guess. And even then it's still hard.
Yeah. For sure. I do feel like it is hard to balance that. Right now, I've been finding success in kind of like separating them, because right now I'm training for my marathon, and then after that I have my high rocks. So right now I'm just focused on running. I am still getting lifts in, but it's kind of coming second to my running. But it's kind of like knocking out two birds in one stone, because high rocks is very much
it's a combination a little bit. Yeah,
it's very much a running kind of sport, so to speak, or challenge. And I feel like I had a foundation already of my strength, at least a good enough foundation, actually kind of a detriment to myself, because now I feel like since I built myself up so bulky and strong, that it made running harder.
It's slower. Yes.
Yeah. And so I think just learning, giving my body time to adapt to the new training, and giving myself grace, and knowing that it's a process, like people who are runners their whole life, they make it look easy because they've been running their whole life. Or people who have been lifting their whole life, they make it look easy because they've been lifting their whole life.
Yep.
And so it's just, if you're on one side of the coin and you try to do another thing, of course it's going to be hard at first, but you just got to give it time.
Why do you think it is that a lot of people don't want to aspire to become better in all these? Do you have an opinion about, because the majority of people don't do the things that I do or you do, and I don't even think we do enough. Like I was saying, I think we can always do more. What do you think is stopping a lot of people, or even the people that we may see at the gym, or the people that say, oh, I'm going to do this, and yet they put a blockade and they never get to that? And of course, everyone has things going on in their life, but everyone has things going on in their life. What do you think is stopping people from trying to achieve more for themselves?
I think what it is, and I deal with this myself, I think it's not like that they're stopping themselves because they think that they can't do it. It's more of like fear of coming short of something, like, oh, well, like if I won't, like a lot of people in their mind probably think, oh, I can't finish a marathon. I could barely run a mile.
Yeah.
So why even go run that mile?
Yes.
Why even start running a mile?
Yes.
And it's the fear that they think like that they'll be embarrassed or that they'll come up short.
I agree.
And so, and it's not just with fitness, but I think with things in life too, like, you know, going for a job promotion or going for applying for a job that maybe is competitive or something like that. And instead they stop themselves from even applying or trying because they think, oh, I'm not good enough.
That's right.
I won't be able to do it.
That's right.
And so I think that, yeah, it's fear of not.
I agree with that. I think fear is the number one thing, because everyone has things going on in their life. Some people have things that may be more severe, more detrimental. They're right. It's all a balance of the mental strength you have to understand that doing these things only improve everything else in your life. Right? People don't see that. They don't see the time. The same thing with reading or meditation, right? All the time I see you in the gym, and we talked about this, where you're kind of just in this zone for like 5 minutes, just breathing to yourself, right?
Oh yeah, I do the little breath work.
Why do you do that?
I think it just clears my mind, kind of gets my central nervous system ready for what I'm about to do.
Okay,
and
right.
Like, yeah.
Yeah, I meditate, but I don't do that. But when I saw you do that, I'm like, oh, that's interesting. You're doing it right before you work out. Mm-hmm. So you're doing what's necessary for you to feel good in that process. Some people may look at that. I'm not going to say necessarily I think it's a waste of time. I don't think so. But I will look at that and say, why is he doing that for that's 5 minutes gone? He could be warming up on a treadmill or whatever. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But you're doing it because there's a benefit right before you get into action. Mm-hmm. Right?
Yeah. It's like essential nervous system priming.
I agree. Yeah. So the reason I say that is because when I see people not going at their full potential, I always have this. And again, that's kind of how we got into conversation at the gym. I always have this intuition in my mind, and I've talked about in other episodes where to inspire somebody, to become an inspiration, not letting somebody come to me and say, hey, what can I do? But if I can help somebody, if I can go to them and share knowledge where it can accelerate them, I want to do that, right? And I guess it just frustrates me because a lot of people don't see their true potential. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And I think it's like a mixture. Like there's so many things that go into that, like why people might feel like, you know, they're not good enough for something. Like for me, for a long time, it was my past, the things that I had gone through in my life that kind of held a gate, so to speak, to my self-worth and things like that. But then once I feel like I had a purpose, I found a purpose, and that was my past.
Yes.
Using that as my purpose to share with people.
Yes.
And to show them, like, you know, hey, like I had these, you know, setbacks, and I had these, you know, challenges, but I still was able to do it. I'm still pushing through it. And, you know, maybe you could do the same if you find purpose in the struggles that you're going through. And, you know, like how you said, like wanting to preach that to people and make an impact on people. Like I live for that too, man.
You're wearing this t-shirt. It's relevant to that. Obviously this is your brand.
Yes, sir.
It's relevant to that, giving that inspiration. Why did you make that?
Buff Dad. So I made this, me and my friend Armani made this because we're both dads, and we seen I guess what we saw is that there is a lack of, when people become parents, dads and moms, they kind of put themselves on the back burner, and they put themselves second. They take care of their children, and they find excuses, or they find it hard to find time to take care of themselves. But I think that, us and how driven we are and how motivated and passionate we are about the gym, think that we wanted to flip that mindset and say, well, if you work out and you take care of yourself, the better you are for your kids and the more present you are with them, because you're looking better, you're feeling better, you're performing better, to be, you know, in their lives for a long time. Longevity, your health will be better for them. And then they'll see how you push yourself and do hard things, and that'll give them more confidence to want to do the same when they get older. And so I think that's a whole, it's a lifestyle that we're trying to create that that embraces that. And
Would you say your goal with that brand is to become an inspiration yourself?
yeah, for sure. I'm struggling with trying to like maybe not be the front, like the face of that brand too much, because like we want it to be its own community, its own thing.
You don't want to be the hero image of the brand.
Yeah, yeah.
But
I mean, I'm glad to be a testimony, but I want other people. I want to also have like other people like have the share the spotlight and stories shared and things like that.
I think I think it needs to, I'm going to push back on this a little bit. I think if you become the model, then people can find inspiration in you to want to be that too. That doesn't mean they are less equal to you. It's to make people to equal to you or better. So I understand what you're saying, but I would say that it needs to start with you, especially if you're trying to share knowledge and your experience in that path of discipline, because that's what it comes down to, right? This is everything that we're talking about is kind of that discipline, bringing discipline back into your life, because obviously it wasn't there. Then you try to find these easy escape holes to kind of navigate through life. But again, the delayed gratification, right? Putting in that work in all aspects of life and then getting rewarded at the end. But the reward is seeing other people prosper from your efforts. That's how I started to look at life now, because there's again, this is more specific to people like us, people that are highly driven. When we push ourselves, the rewards are minimal. But I mean, I have on here, like one of my notes is your daughter. If you can inspire your daughter, what kind of fulfillment would you get versus you getting all the trophies and...
Yeah, man, that's a tough thing. Like, I want my daughter to be able to feel like she could do whatever she wants to be able to do in her life. You know, like, I want to live that example that, like, if I put my mind to something, I can do it.
Whatever it is.
Exactly. And with, like, the proof to back it up. You know what I mean? Like, because, you know, I had a lot of people telling me that when I was young, and it's like, okay, but, like, what are you doing with your life?
Yes.
You know, you telling me that I could do anything I could do anything I put my mind to, but like, what are you doing? I'm living by your example.
That's exactly.
And so now, like, I feel like that's my goal and my purpose in my daughter's life is to, if I'm going to tell her you could do anything you put your mind to, then I better back it up and show her that I did it. You know what I mean? So
no, yeah. And that's why I'm saying to become, I think you're indirectly becoming an inspiration. You may not see it as that, but like if you're saying you're doing all this for yourself, for your community, for your daughter, this is the definition of an inspiration. You know what I mean? To me, it is, at least.
Thanks, man.
What would any last words or any recommendations you would give to somebody that listens or watches this that is struggling in life, that trying to find their path, they're trying to find discipline, overcome excuses, or maybe they're not even overcoming excuses. Maybe they have a really hard time in life right now with things that are just going on. What would you recommend? Or
for sure. Okay, so something that I carried with me when my whole transition and turning my life around, this was just off of, like, you know, being very introspective, thinking about my life, and also my grandmother, actually, who gave me a few of these things that I started with. She got me started with these, like, morals and values.
We're good.
Okay. And so there's 5 things, and I call them my 5 keys to success. And the first one is determination. You got to know what you want in life. Once you're determined and you could kind of like see it, you got to be committed. Determination, commitment. Yeah, you got to commit yourself to that. You can't be spreading yourself out. You got to focus on that one thing. And because if your focus is in different places, you're not going to be, you aren't going to be fully 100% into that. So determination, commitment, hard work. Nothing worth having in life comes easy. So it's going to be hard sometimes. You're going to have blood, sweat, and tears, but it'll be worth it once you get it, right? And then patience. It's not going to happen overnight. You got to, sometimes it'll take months, years, decade, but as long as you stay determined and you're committed to that, it'll happen as long as you stay patient. And then perseverance meaning there's going to be times when you're going to want to quit. There's going to be times when everything in life is almost like falling apart, and it's and making you feel like this isn't meant for you or something like that. But just like that image that we were talking about earlier with the diamonds and things like that, like your next door that you open could be the next opportunity that could push you to the next level and reach your goal. And so those are my 5 keys to success. I think that everyone could live by. If you live by those things, like, it'll really, just try it in little things in your life, little goals, small things, and you'll see how impactful it is. It's almost like a manifestation type of work if you use those.
No, that's great. I like that. So you wanted to add some last words about failure, mistakes. Go ahead.
Yeah, man. So like with my background and everything and the things that I went through, I just want to say is that a lot of my success today is from the mistakes and the failures that I made, learning from them and turning them into a good, like, a positive thing. Going to jail, making mistakes with the relationships that I've had and things like that is like, those mistakes didn't define me. And I made sure that, I learned from them and created lessons and made a purpose to want to change myself, and then also tell other people that, they could change too.
You think failure and those mistakes, those errors, quote unquote errors in your life, made you who you are, and without those, you wouldn't be where you are?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
I agree.
Yes.
I agree.
And don't be afraid to make failures either. Like we were talking about earlier with the
strive for the failures. I agree with that.
And things like that. Fear of failure.
Yes.
I'm not saying go and do like dumb stuff but don't be so afraid to try things that you don't ever try anything.
I told my boy on one of the last episodes, I took this line. This isn't my line. I took it from Batman. But one of the villains in Batman was talking to Batman, and he said, before he was Batman, but he said, you always fear what you don't understand. And what I take from that is, the only way to overcome fear is to find understanding. And you can't find understanding without the action and putting yourself into that position where you may fail, but at least you understand. And now you eliminate
you get that knowledge from
failure. Will eliminate, if anything, at the bare minimum, failure will eliminate fear.
That's a bar.
Bar.